Hello, welcome to my channel and thank you for tuning into this video. Today I just want to do a quick little sort of first impressions review of the new Gucci Beauty foundation. So this is called the Natural Finish Fluid Foundation and it just came out. I ordered it directly from the Gucci website, which I had never done before, and it arrived really quickly. So I was really happy with that. This is my second day wearing this, so I wore it yesterday and I'm wearing it today right now. I just put it on probably about an hour ago. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about my first impressions, how it applies, how it wears, and so on. When I applied it yesterday, I used a foundation brush, so I'll insert a little bit of footage of that. And then today I used just a damp sponge, this Real Technique sponge that's my foundation sponge that I always use. I just wanted to compare sort of how it applied with each one. I don't know if I have a preference yet between the two application methods. It applied very well each way. And right now I'm leaning a little bit more toward the sponge. It was just sort of a little bit easier to get on, but that's also where my comfort zone is with foundation application anyways, more so with the sponge. The consistency is actually a little bit thicker than I was expecting. It's not thick at all, but comparing it to like the new Chanel serum foundation that came out, that one's a lot runnier. And that one I actually think is much better applied with a brush for me. Because the sponge soaks up too much of it, but this one is more of a typical kind of foundation that I'm used to. So there's what it looks like. I got the fairest shade, which is, what is that? 110C Fair. So to me, this is somewhere between like the Shiseido Synchro Skin and that Chanel serum in terms of the texture. It's a very light, liquidy kind of feeling texture, but it's not extremely runny and it's not extremely thick. Although it does have a little bit of a serum-y sort of feeling, like when you rub it between your fingers, you can feel that little bit of a fluidity to it and smoothness. So I have it on right now. I do have concealer, so I have the Armani Power Fabric, which is more of a matte kind of concealer. And I have a little bit of powder, but it's quite a balmy powder. It's the Chantecaille one from last holiday. It's actually like a balm powder, so it's not a very powdery feeling to it. And that's just mainly over the T-zone. And then of course I have all my other makeup on top of it. Everything I used went over it very nicely. I used a cream blush, the Fenty, one of the Fenty cream blushes, and then I put a little bit of a powder blush over on top of it, which is more of a baked gelée texture. All of that went on nicely. I used a sort of typical powder bronzer, and that went on really easily as well. So I don't really have any complaints about this at all. I think the longest I've worn it, since I wore it yesterday, I probably wore it 6 or 7 hours yesterday, and I didn't have any issues. I did get a little bit of oil around the nose, but that's pretty normal for me. Plus it was my birthday celebration with my family, so you know, the room was a little bit warm and the excitement was a bit higher than a normal typical day. So I think that could also contribute to sort of a bit more oil production and the heat going on and so on. In terms of the finish, I find it is quite a natural finish. I don't find it dewy, and it's not overly matte, but it is, to me, it leans a little bit more toward the matte side than the dewy side. You might call it a satin finish, but I think it's actually even more sort of matte as again, sort of very natural skin kind of texture to it. The coverage, I would call it a medium coverage, maybe light to medium. I think it builds all right. You'll be able to see in those little inserts where I applied it that it builds pretty easily on top of itself. With the sponge, you're not going to get much extra coverage though if you have like blemishes. Like I have one up here, and I put a little bit of extra foundation on there and then blended it in with the sponge, and it didn't seem to do too much. So I think you'd still have to rely on maybe a concealer if you're wanting to really build up over certain, you know, very highly pigmented areas. It feels very comfortable. It does have a bit of a scent. It's not super strong, but it's not super mild either. So if you're very sensitive to certain types of scents or scents in things that you put on your face, you might want to, you know, just be aware of that. It's sort of, I can't really identify the scent. It's kind of just a perfumey scent to me. It's not super floral or fruity or whatever. It's just sort of perfumey foundation kind of scent that you know, a lot of luxury brands have scents that sort of smell a little bit like that. And the shade also, I think, is really good. So I did compare this to I have the lightest shade in the Chanel Serum Foundation as well, and I can insert a little photo where I compared the two. This one is fairer, so I appreciated that because I find the Chanel one is just a little bit slightly too sort of deep, maybe a little bit more yellowy than I would like. It doesn't really matter once it's on the skin because it blends out so sort of sheer. But I did appreciate that the fairest shade here is really fair enough for me, so that was nice. I think that's mainly all I wanted to say about it now with my first impressions. If you do have any questions or comments, I'd love to see those down below. If you'd like to see more from me, I would love for you to subscribe. My channel right now is mainly videos like this where I'm reviewing and sort of demoing new products. I mainly focus on high-end and luxury products just because that's what I find the most joy from. And I'm also doing a lot of videos that are sort of just, you know, not necessarily tutorials, but makeup application showing you how I'm doing it, and makeup inspired by certain things. So I've done a blue Christmas lights makeup look. I'm doing a series on lipstick based makeup looks as well. So that's where I base a whole makeup look around the idea and the shade of a certain lipstick. So I've done 2 Lisa Eldridge lipstick based videos so far, and I'm planning to do a lot more of those types of videos. So if you'd like to see more of that type of content, and as I said, reviews and sort of demos of newer products, it would be great if you would subscribe. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.